Damn, I should got everything in the camera. Goddamn, I got
I'm
everything.
about to start writing something, by the way. I just titled it. I don't know what it's gonna be yet.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
It just says one day at a time.
That already sound like it's fucking fire.
So I just leave it at that, and then I'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
man, I wasn't even on Facebook yet. That's funny. Alright, here we go. Alright, but I'm just gonna start reading it. What's up, people? Alleybounce, Alley Chef, Allison Sahonic here. I'm about to read your book. And I already started it, and then I had the idea of reading it to you guys. Right? You know what I'm saying? We try to get a little hook it up, you know what I'm saying? Looking nice. That one looked the best. This one got the nice lighting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Android is losing right now. Alright, anyways, so let's see. Yeah, I already read some, so I'm gonna start where I started. I'm reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I believe that's how you say it. In the voice of Ali Chef. Excuse me. Sorry. Alright. The more the dysfunction of the human mind plays itself out on the world stage, clearly visible to everyone in the daily television news reports, the greater the number of people who realize the urgent need for a radical change in human consciousness if humanity is not to destroy both itself and the planet. This need, as well as readiness in millions of people for the arising of a new consciousness, is the context within which the success of the power of now must be seen and understood. This does not mean, of course, that everyone responds favorably to the book. In many people, as well as in most of the political and economic structures and the greater part of the media, the old consciousness is still deeply entrenched. Anyone who is still totally identified with the voice in their head, the stream of involuntary and incessant thinking, will inevitably fail to see what the power of now is all about. Welcome everybody. It is book time. Dun, dun. Some enthusiastic readers gave a copy of the book to a friend or relative and were surprised and disappointed when the recipient found it quite meaningless and could not get beyond the first few pages. Mumbo Jumbo was all that Time magazine could see in a book that countless people around the globe found life-changing. Furthermore, any teaching that puts the spotlight of attention on the workings of the ego will necessarily provoke egoic reaction, resistance, and attack. However, despite a certain amount of misunderstanding and critical dissent, the response to the book around the globe has been overwhelmingly positive. I feel confident that in the years to come, millions more will be drawn to it, and that the power of now will continue to make a vital contribution to the rising of a new consciousness and a more enlightened humanity. Hey, Mark. Is that the next page? Oh my God, that was it. Okay, Eckhart Tolle, Vancouver, BC, April 19th, 2004. The power of now begins. Introduction. The origin of this book. I have little use for the past and rarely think about it. However, I would briefly like to tell you how I came to be a spiritual teacher and how this book came into existence. Until my 13th year, I lived in a state of almost continuous anxiety interspersed with periods of suicidal depression. It feels now as if I am talking about some past lifetime or somebody else. One night, long after my 29th birthday, I woke up in the early hours with a feeling of absolute dread. I had woken up with such a feeling many times before, but this time it was a more intense than it had ever been at 29th birthday. The silence of the night, the vague outlines of the furniture in the dark room, the distance of a passing train. Vroom. Everything felt so alien, so hostile, and so utterly meaningless that it created in me a deep loathing of the world. The most loath create wait, hold on. The most loathsome okay. The most loathsome thing of all, however, was my own existence. What was the point in continuing to live with this burden of misery? Why carry on with this continuous struggle? I could feel that a deep longing for annihilation, for non existence, was now becoming much stronger than the instinctive desire to continue to live. I cannot live with myself any longer. Hey, it's reading time. No phones, okay? Go ahead and finish, but no phones. I cannot live with myself any longer. This was the thought that kept repeating itself in my mind. Then suddenly I became aware of what a peculiar thought it was. Am I one or two? If I cannot live with myself, there must be two of me, the I and the self, that I cannot live with. Maybe I thought only one of them is real. I was so stunned by this strange realization that my mind stopped. I was fully conscious, but there were no more thoughts. Then I felt drawn into what seemed like a vortex of energy. It was a slow movement at first and then accelerated. I was gripped by an intense fear and my body started to shake. I heard the words, resist nothing, as if it's spoken inside my chest. I could feel myself being sucked into a void. It felt as if the void was inside myself rather than outside. Suddenly, there was no more fear, and I let myself fall into that void. I have no recollection of what happened after that. I was awakened by the chirping of a bird outside the window. I had never heard such a sound before. My eyes were still closed, and I saw the image of a precious diamond. Yes, if a diamond could make a sound, this is what it would be like. I opened my eyes. The first light of dawn was filtering through the curtains. Love that. Without any thought, I felt I knew that there is infinitely more to light than we realize. That soft luminosity filtering through the curtains was love itself. Tears came into my eyes. I got up and walked around the room. I recognized the room, and yet I knew that I had never truly seen it before. Everything was fresh and pristine, as if it had just come into existence. I picked up things, a pencil, an empty bottle, marveling at the beauty and aliveness of it all. Okay, Kelly. That day I walked around the city in utter amazement at the miracle of life on earth, as if I had just been born into this world. For the next 5 months, I lived in a state of uninterrupted deep peace and bliss. After that, it diminished somewhat intensity, or perhaps it just seemed to because it became my natural state. I could still function in the world, although I realized that nothing I did could possibly add anything to what I already had. I knew, of course, that something profoundly significant had happened to me, but I didn't understand it at all. It wasn't until several years later that after I had read spiritual texts and spent time with spiritual teachers that I realized what everybody was looking for had already happened to me. I understood that intense pressure of suffering that night must have forced my consciousness to withdraw from its identification with the unhappy and deeply fearful self, which is ultimately a fiction of the mind. This withdrawal must have been so complete that this false, suffering self immediately collapsed, just as if a plug had been pulled out of an inflatable toy. What was left then was my true nature as the ever present I am, consciousness in its pure state prior to identification with form. Later, I also learned to go into that inner, timeless, and deathless realm that I had originally perceived as a void and remain fully conscious. I dwelt in states of such indescribable bliss and sacredness that even the original experience I just described pales in comparison. A time when, for a while, I was left with nothing on the physical plane. I had no relationships, no job, no home, no socially defined identity. I spent almost 2 years sitting on park benches in a state of the most intense joy. But even the most beautiful experiences come and go. More fundamental, perhaps, than any experience is the undercurrent of peace that has never left me since then. Sometimes it is very strong, almost palpable, and others can feel it too. At other times, it is somewhere in the background, like a distant melody. Later, people would occasionally come up to me and say, I want what you have. Can you give it to me? Or show me how to get it? And I would say, you have it already. You just can't feel it because your mind is making too much noise. That answer later grew into the book that you are holding in your hands. In my hands. I'm the one holding it. Before I knew it, I had an external identity again. I had become a spiritual teacher. The truth that is within you. This book represents the essence of my work, as far as it can be conveyed in words with individuals and small groups of spiritual seekers during the past 10 years, in Europe and in North America. In deep love and appreciation, I would like to thank those exceptional people for their courage, their willingness to embrace inner change, their challenging questions, and their readiness to listen. This book would not have come into existence without them. They belong to what is as yet a small but fortunately growing minority of spiritual pioneers, people who are reaching a point where they become capable of breaking out of inherited collective mind patterns that have kept humans in bondage to sufferings for eons. I trust that this book will find its way to those who are ready for such radical inner transformation and so act as a catalyst for it. I also hope that it will reach many others who will find its content worthy of consideration, although they may be ready to fully live or practice it, may not be ready. It is possible that at a later time, the seed that was sown when reading this book will merge within the seed of enlightenment that each human being carries within. And suddenly that seed will sprout and come alive within them. The book in its present form originated, often spontaneously in response to questions asked by individuals in seminars, meditation classes, and private counseling sessions. And so I have kept these questions and answer format. I learned and received as much in those classes and sessions as the questionnaires. Some of the questions and answers I wrote down almost verbatim. Others are generic, which is to say I combined certain types of questions that were frequently asked into one and extracted the essence from different answers to form one generic answer. Sometimes in the process of writing, an entirely new answer came that was more profound or insightful than anything I had ever uttered. Some additional questions were asked by the editor so as to provide further clarification of certain points. You will find that from the first to the last page, the dialogues continuously alternate between two different levels. On one level, I draw your attention to what is false in you. I speak of the nature of human unconsciousness and dysfunction as well as its most common behavior manifestations, from conflict in relationships to warfare between tribes or nations. Such knowledge is vital, for unless you learn to recognize the faults as not you, there can be no lasting transformation, and you would always end up being drawn back into illusion and into some form of pain. On this level, I also show you how not to make that which is false in you into a self and into a personal problem for how the fault perpetuates itself. Omita. On another level, I speak of a profound transformation of human consciousness, not as a distant future possibility, but available now. No matter who or where you are shown how to free yourself from enslavement to the mind. Enter into this enlightenment state of consciousness and sustain in its everyday life. Just be focused. Don't think about anything else right now and just fucking focus and listen to the book. Can you do that? Okay, just try. On this level of the book, the words are not always concerned with information, but often designed to draw you into this new conscious as you read. Or do you want to take Lolita out? Go take her out. Don't talk to her right now. Just can you take the note out?
No, she's like trying to fucking like.
Just live your life. Like relax. Please, just don't. You can't. Give me the phone, please.
No,
Give me the phone.
no.
Sorry. Hey. You don't. I'm his fucking mom. I don't give a fuck what she says. I don't give a fuck. Go cry about it. Is he doing something right now? Okay, we're back. On this level, the words are not always concerned with information, but often designed to draw you into this new consciousness as you read. Again and again, I endeavor to take you with me into that timeless state of intense conscious presence in the now, so as to give you a taste of enlightenment. Until you are able to experience what I speak of, you may find those passages somewhat repetitive. As soon as you do, however, I believe you will realize that they contain a great deal of spiritual power, and they become for you the most rewarding parts of the book. Moreover, ever since every person carries the seed of enlightenment within, I often address myself to the knower in you who dwells behind the thinker, the deeper self that immediately recognizes spiritual truth, resonates with it, and gains strength from it. The pause symbol, well, I guess you guys don't need this part, but I'm still going to read it. The pause symbol after certain passages is a suggestion that you may want to stop reading for a moment, become still, and feel and experience the truth of what has just been said. There may be other places in the text where you will do this naturally and spontaneously. As you begin reading the book, the meaning of certain words such as being or presence may not be entirely clear to you at first. Just read on. Questions or objections may occasionally come into your mind as you read. They will probably be answered later in the book, or they may turn out to be irrelevant as you go more deeply into the teaching and into yourself. Don't read with the mind only. Watch out for any feeling response as you read and a sense of recognition from deep within. I cannot tell you any spiritual truth that deep within you you don't know already. All I can do is remind you of what you have forgotten. Living knowledge, ancient and yet ever new, is then activated and released from within every cell of your body. The mind always wants to categorize and compare. But this book will work better for you if you do not attempt to compare its terminology with that of other teachings. Otherwise, you will probably become confused. I use words such as mind, happiness, and consciousness in ways that don't necessarily correlate with other teachings. Don't get attached to any words. They are only stepping stones to be left behind as quickly as possible. When I occasionally quote the words of Jesus or Buddha from A Course in Miracles or from other teachings, I do so not in order to compare, but to draw your attention to the fact that in essence, there is and always have been only one spiritual teaching, although it comes in many forms. Some of these forms, such as the ancient religions, have become so overlaid with extraneous matter that their spiritual essence has become almost completely obscured by it. To a large extent, therefore, their deeper meaning is no longer recognized and their transformative power lost. When I quote from the ancient religions or other teachings, it is to reveal their deeper meaning and thereby restore their transformative power, particularly for those readers who are followers of these religions or teachings. I say to them, there is no need to go elsewhere for the truth. Let me show you how to go more deeply into what you already have. Mostly, however, I have endeavored to use terminology that is as neutral as possible in order to reach a wide range of people. This book can be seen as a restatement for our time of that one timeless spiritual teaching, the essence of all religions. It is not derived from external sources, but from the one true source within. So it contains no theory or speculation. I speak from inner experience. And if at times I speak forcefully, it is to cut through heavy layers of mental resistance and to reach that place within you where you already know, just as I know, and where the truth is recognized when it is heard. There is then a feeling of exaltation and heightened aliveness as something within you says, yes, I know this is true. Woo! Hey, people! Gotta let that shit go. Oh, shit. You already know. Thanks for the support. I love you guys. I'm about to get to the good part. You just broke up for her? Great. I'm happy for you guys. NM, Melvin Richard, what's goody? Okay, so chapter motherfucking one. This is where it's getting good, okay? We're in the Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, chapter one, getting the brain, getting the mind going. You know what I mean? Feeling the now. I appreciate the one like that I have here on TikTok. I love you guys. We're getting into the deep stuff right now. Chapter one. Wait, let me see if she wants to join in on the enlightenment. Hold on. Jasmine, how you feeling? Okay, well, she can't handle it. Relationships, you know what I mean? Yeah. But shame and emotions have a hold of us at times. Yeah, it's really just her girlfriend. Actually, I invited my cousin here, Jasmine. Her name is Jasmine. I invited her here to Dominican Republic. She lives in Florida because she admitted herself in the hospital because she was having mental issues. She said she can't control her emotions, and she admitted herself in the hospital. And her parents are, sad and confused and upset and want to help her but don't know how, and whatever it may be. So I offered her to come here to the dieting and um, change her diet and learn some new things to help her mental health. And hi, bye, Kiki, 8, and John, Anyway, so I invited her here to Dominican Republic to come see something different and see how they live and learn about mental health and change her diet and, just see how I live in the process of me making my music because I'm making Spanish music to do the same thing, try to help people heal mentally. I'm like, we're going to read this book, The Power of Now. But the girlfriend wants to talk to her. And the girlfriend is like threatening her, like, oh, I'm going to break up with you. Like, she got on my page on Facebook and she said awkward. She was like, this is weird. And now she's talking shit on my Facebook. But anyway, so I'm gonna do my chisme. She's, being, I would say, mentally abusive to my cousin who's here trying to get mental health. And she suggested her to come here to get mental health, and I'm trying to read her a book, and she's threatening to break up with her and fight with her, and now she can't read the book and learn the stuff I'm supposed to be teaching her because she would rather argue with her girlfriend. So that's what happened. It's life. It happens. We live, we learn, we grow. But I took her phone, and that's what she's mad about. So I'm the bad cousin because I took her phone so she can't argue with her girlfriend. So I'm going to read the book. I miss you. I really miss you a lot too. If you can ever come to DR, please do because I can't fly out of the country. So it's just life. Everything can get better. Everything can change. We can fix our relationships. We can love and support, our significant other with their mental health. But I'm going to go back to reading the book because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm really excited, even though this is supposed to be for her. But she'll listen to it later. It's just chapter 1. We have more chapters to go, okay? So, mental health, we're going to love ourselves and work on our mental health and do what we need to do because peace of mind is more important than anything in this world right now. So it says the greatest obstacle to enlightenment. Chapter 1, you are not your mind. Enlightenment, what is that? Is it a light in the sky? No, I'm just kidding. She got to wake up by herself. You can point her in the direction, but she has to walk that path. You right. You right. Say it. All right. Let's go. Let's get into deep to mental healing right now. A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walked by. Spare some change, mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. I have nothing to give you, said the stranger. Then he asked, what's that you are sitting on? Nothing, replied the beggar. Just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember. Ever looked inside? Asked the stranger. No, said the beggar. What's the point? There's nothing in here. Have a look inside, insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw, my God, that the box was filled with gold. Ah, la coroneta. Woo! I am that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside, says Eckhart Tolle, who wrote this book, The Power of Now. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. But I am not a beggar, I can hear you say. I'm not a beggar. Okay, I ain't too proud to beg. Okay, those who have not found their true wealth. Thank you, bye Kiki Ocho. Bye Kiki Ocho, thank you so much. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiance of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars, even if they have great material wealth. They are looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things, but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment, and the ego likes to keep it that way. But it is simply your natural state of felt oneness with being. It is a state of connectedness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that almost paradoxically is essentially you and yet is much greater than you. It is finding your true nature beyond name and form. The inability to feel this connectedness gives rise to the illusion of separation from yourself and from the world around you. You then perceive yourself consciously or unconsciously as an isolated fragment. Fear arises and conflict within and without becomes the norm. I love that Buddha's simple definition of enlightenment as the end of suffering. There is nothing superhuman in that, is there? Of course, as a definition, it is incomplete. It only tells you what enlightenment is not. No suffering. But what's left when there is no more suffering? Just the space, I assume. The Buddha is silent on that, and his silence implies that you'll have to find out for your fucking self, alright? He uses a negative definition so that the mind cannot make it into something to believe in or into a superhuman accomplishment, a goal that is impossible for you to attain. Despite this precaution, the majority of Buddhists still believe that enlightenment is for the Buddha, not for them. At least not in this lifetime. Thank you for the donuts and the roses. Oh shit! He was just giving me a bouquet of roses. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you, TikTok. Thank you so much. Goodness. You, and I love you, John. It's not TikTok. I love you. It's you. You use the word being. Can you explain what you mean by that? Being is the eternal, ever present, one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. However, being is not only beyond but also deep within every form as its innermost invisible and indestructible essence. This means that it is acceptable to you now as your own deepest self, your true nature. But don't seek to grasp it with your mind. Don't try to understand it. When you are present, when your attention is fully and intensely in the now, can you feel it? Being can be felt. Woo! But it can never be understood mentally. That's the trick. Oh, we have a visitor. Bang. We have a visitor. Oh, she went under the bed. That's her happy place. Okay. Oh, here. Bang. Come on and join us. Okay. We have a visitor. Ugh. Here we go. The dog has joined the chat. To regain awareness of being and to abide in that state of feeling realization is enlightenment. When you say being, are you talking about God? If you are, then why don't you say it? That's a great question, right? The word God has become empty of meaning through thousands of years of misuse. I use it sometimes, but I do so sparingly. By misuse, I mean that people who have never even glimpsed the realm of the sacred, the infinite vastness behind that word, use it with great conviction as if they knew what they are talking about. Or they argue against it as if they knew what it is that they are denying. This misuse gives rise to absurd beliefs, assertions, and egoic delusions, such as my or our God is the only true God, and your God is false. Or Nietzsche's famous statement, God is dead. The word God has become a closed concept. The moment the word is uttered, a mental image is created. No longer, perhaps, of an old man with a white beard, but still a mental representation of someone or something outside you. And yes, most inevitably, a male someone or something. You get where we're going here? Neither God nor being, neither God nor being, nor any other word can define or explain the ineffable reality behind the word. So the only important question is whether the word is a help or a hindrance. In enabling you to experience that toward which it points. Does it point beyond itself to that transcendental reality? Or does it lend itself too easily to becoming no more than an idea in your head that you believe in, a mental idol? The word being explains nothing, but nor does God. Being, however, has the advantage that it is an open concept. It does not reduce the infinite invisible to a finite entity. Shit. Tongue ties. It is impossible to form a mental image of it. Nobody can claim exclusive possession of being. It is your very essence, and it is immediately accessible to you as the feeling of your own presence. The realization I am, that is prior to I am this or I am that. So it is only a small step from the word being to the experience of being. Still a little breathe. Cuatro, 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 4, 4, 4. We're going to breathe in 4, hold it for 4, and breathe out for 4. Let's go. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right. What is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality? Thank you so much, John. I love you. Identification with your mind. Wait, one more time. What is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality of being, of the now? Identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction. But we don't realize this because almost everybody is suffering from it. So it is considered normal. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being.
Ella porque la mujer.
Ah,
La mujer porque la llamó a ella. O ella llamó a la mujer.
no sé, ¿por qué?
No, porque ella se puso así llorando tanto.
Es así, pero déjame terminar, yo estoy haciendo algo, yo estoy en cámara y todo.
Ok, está bien.
Te quiero mucho.
Ok. Yo no quiero.
Pero yo voy a hablar cuando yo termine.
Ok.
Ok? Gracias.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a grandma check. Yeah, I still got the film, don't worry. Okay, let me just read that again. I'm sorry. What is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality? Identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction. But we don't realize this because almost everybody is suffering from it. So it is considered normal. I know I'm not the only one who used to have like always just thinking a billion thoughts in my brain. Because if I can work on it, trust me, anybody can. Because I'm a lot happier now than I was. I'll just say that. The incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. It also creates a false mind made self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering. We will look at all that in more detail later. Yeah. The philosopher what? Descartes. Okay. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. The philosopher Descartes believed that he had found the most fundamental truth when he made his famous statement, I think, therefore I am. He had, in fact, given expression to the most basic error, to equate thinking with being and to identify with thinking. The compulsive thinker, which means almost everyone, lives in a state of apparent separateness. In an insanely complex world of continuous problems and conflict, a world that reflects the ever increasing fragmentation of the mind. Enlightenment is a state of wholeness, of being at one and therefore at peace. At one with life in its manifested aspects, the world, as well as with your deepest self and life unmanifested. At one with being. Enlightenment is not only the end of suffering and of continuous conflict within and without, but also the end of the dreadful enslavement to incessant thinking. What an incredible liberation that is! Identification with your mind creates an opaque screen of concepts, labels, images, words, judgments, and definitions that block all true relationship. It comes between you and yourself, between you and your fellow man and woman, between you and nature, between you and God. It is this screen of thought that creates the illusion of separateness, the illusion that there is you and a totally separate other. I'm glad. I'm really glad. At least you're working on it and that you're happier. I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. And I'm glad you tuned in. It's really good to hear from you. You then forgot the essential fact that underneath the level of physical appearances in separate forms, you are one with all that is. By forget, I mean that you can no longer feel this oneness as self-evident reality. You may believe it to be true, but you no longer know it to be true. A belief may be comforting only through your own experience. However, does it become liberating? Dun dun dun. Thinking has become a disease. Dis-ease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. For example, there is nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body. But when this process continues in disregard of the total organism, cells proliferate and we have disease. The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly or hold on. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. Eh? This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over. I don't quite agree. It is true that I do a lot of aimless thinking. This is the question part. Like most people, but I can still choose to use my mind to get and accomplish things, and I do that all the time. His answer: just because you can solve a crossword puzzle or build an atom bomb doesn't mean that you use your mind. Just as dogs love to chew bones, the mind loves to get its teeth into problems. That's why it does crossword puzzles and builds atom bombs. You have no interest in it either. Let me ask you this. Can you be free of your mind whenever you want to? Have you found the off button? You mean stop thinking altogether? No, I can't. Except maybe for a moment or two. I'm definitely really good at thinking about nothing. I'm so proud of myself. I deserve a fucking cookie. Then the mind is using you. You are unconsciously identified with it, so you don't even know that you are its slave. It's almost as if you are possessed without knowing it. And so you take the possessing entity to be yourself. The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not the possessing entity, the thinker. Knowing this enables you to observe the entity. The moment you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated. You then begin to realize that there is a vast realm of intelligence beyond thought, and thought is only a tiny aspect of that intelligence. You also realize that all the things that truly matter, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, arise from beyond the mind. You begin to awaken. Oh shit, my girlfriend's calling. I don't know if that's gonna fuck it up. Well, I'm at. So that was just like a part 1 of the chapter, and there's so many more parts. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that for the day, and also call my girlfriend back, because that was, you are not your mind. You are still giving me all these freaking flowers. Ay. Thank you so much. How did you give me so many flowers? That's crazy. You're just going crazy. But the next one says freeing yourself from your mind. So I think taking it into those little parts will be better. I have to call her because she's calling me. But I thank you so much for tuning in. Let me just answer that on Facebook really quick. Oh, boy! You're outside? Baby. And I'm about to get up. Okay, my bad. She was at the door waiting to get in, and it was locked. So I just let her in. Anyways, so I think I'm going to leave it there because that's kind of like a long read. And I got to go talk to the cousin, make sure she's okay. We can talk about what happened and her getting mad that I put her business out here on Facebook and on the internet. But it doesn't matter because life, everything's temporary anyway. You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares. So that was The Power of Now. A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. Part of the first chapter, You Are Not Your Mind. The next part is Freeing Yourself from Your Mind. I think I'm really feeling this, but I think I'm going to do this every day for this book. I'm definitely not going to be a stranger. We should hit you up. I got a new phone too. So we definitely got to catch up. And I appreciate all the love that you sent me on here. The next part is Freeing Yourself from Your Mind. And yeah, I hope you guys can join me and just kind of go through this moment of spiritual enlightenment that I'm trying to help my cousin with. Hey, can you close the door because it's loud?
Yeah, but
You're bringing the speaker in. I'm literally just saying bye. And anyways, I'm thinking about doing this every day, even just for a little bit, but just these little parts. Like it would probably take a week to do just chapter 1, and just trying to remind us some spiritual enlightenment thingies. And as I'm trying to test this out and help my cousin, because I would really like to have like a hotel or some type of business where you can go and learn about all these different ways to heal the body. And now I have an opportunity because my cousin's here and she's trying to just be free and happy and follow her dreams. And she's just having a little trouble right now. Just organizing the thoughts, being happy, anxiety, depression, all of that. So we're working on the diet. We're going to read some books. We're going to exercise. She's getting to see my music career and watching the process of that. So that's really cool. You'd invest? Yeah, I love that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, now my biggest goal is a resort. Like I want a resort, maybe here, probably here, where you can come, you learn about chiropractic care, you learn about supplementing, you learn how to juice, you learn how to cook, you learn about massage, acupuncture, just anything, meditation, breathing, yoga, anything that's like natural healing. I want like a resort, like all in one spot where you go get all of it, not just one thing. I want it where you can learn about everything, or maybe a cruise. Maybe it could be a cruise, but I think it would be cool, a resort. And then I have all these business ideas for like new chain restaurant type things, but that are fresh foods and natural things. And I just have a lot of ideas, and it's going to take a while to get it all, but I'm focused on the music for now. But I've always wanted to do like this book reading thing because the books have helped me so much. So I got inspired today with my cousin, and that's why I come on live. And I think I'm going to do it more often. I would like to have like a bunch of audiobooks in my voice, or maybe the commentary like this where it's exciting and animated and kind of fun to read a book. So this is a lot of cool ideas coming around, and I appreciate your support. I'm really glad you were here, and I love you. I miss you. We should definitely chat, make sure we both have numbers. My number hasn't changed, so if you could text me, that'd be great, because now I got my phone working. And many blessings. You can be healed, you can be free, you can be loved, and you are already all of those things. And acceptance is peace. God is love, and there's no man-made medicine more powerful than time and love. So those are my rules that I live by, that I feel like I just helped me get to where I am now. So yeah, I love you. We'll talk soon. I'm going to be here every day. I hope. I try. Actually, we have a show tomorrow. So maybe if I do it early, I might do it early tomorrow because I have a show tomorrow night. Well, my girlfriend has a show, but I'm supporting, and I'm doing like one little dance part. But anyways, yeah. I love you. Whoa, you sent me a galaxy? Oh, shit. That was bomb. Like I even saw it. It was perfect timing. That was awesome. All right. I love you guys. Blessings. You're loved. You're healed. Don't forget lemon water, celery juice, Wim Hof breathing, and coconut oil. That's it. I just gave y'all all a bunch of $1 million information today. I love you guys, and we're going to talk soon. I'm gonna do TikTok last, so I'm gonna turn off TikTok last because they got me popping right now. I should read all this shit. You don't need to talk shit about me in the fuck. You don't need to be talking about business. Everyone knows that is fucked up. This is not the reason I'm not telling you that fucking shit. What else did he say? They teach you this. I'm not gonna say shit because she gonna be mad. Anyways, y'all both toxic. I'm trying to help the girl, y'all staying up to 3 a.m. still hanging out. We working. Nigga, we hanging out. Bitch, I was fucking tired of shit. Nigga. Anyway, but maybe if it wasn't such a bitch, she could be home and talk to you, but we have to take her out of the house. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I love you.